Okay, first of all, we have to install it. So how to install and how to configure. Now, for example, start, then go to settings, and from there select control panel. From here select add remove programs. We want to install the DHCP server. Then go to what? Then go to add remove Windows components. From this window, what is going to be selected? Just scroll down and from there select networking services. Select networking services and go to what? Go to details. And from there, the second checkbox that is used for what? Dynamic host configuration protocol means DHCP server. Dynamic host configuration protocol. So just enable the checkbox and click on the OK button. And then click next. It's going to be started within seconds. Now DHCP server has been installed, so just click finish to complete the installation and then close it. Now what we have to do? We have to configure it. So how to do? Start programs and from there select administrative tools and then the DHCP server. Select DHCP server. You can see at the end of the list the DHCP server is there. Now open it and from there just extend it. So this is already configured. The DHCP server is already authorized. If it's not authorized, so here you have to select what? You have to authorize it. And after the authorization, you have to just refresh it. So by default, it's authorized, meaning there is a green symbol. If this is a red symbol, so you have to right click over it. And from there, you have to select what? First of all, you have to authorize it. And after that, you have to what? You have to create the address pool. Now, the DHCP server is already authorized. And we want to what? We want to create the address pool. We want to assign the range of IPs. So how to do? Just right click over it and from there select what? New scope. Then click next. Here you can mention any name, ABC, hello, hi, any scope. Kardan scope, you are going to mention anything. I'm just going to specify Kardan scope. Then what? Click on next. Here you have to specify the range of IPs. Start IP address and the end IP addresses. From here what? From here the IP addresses would be what? Would be assigned to the clients. So I'm going to start what? 192.168.2. What? The 2. For example 5. I'm going to start from what? From 5. That is the first IP addresses. 192.168.2.5. From 5 up to what? 192.168.2.100. So we are having 95 IP addresses. If you want to 195, so just specify 200. If you just want to design for 50 or 40 IP addresses, so just 45 IP addresses are there. Which is your network computers, so you have to specify that much IP addresses. Is it clear? So that is the end. And here you can see length. Length means if you are using class C IP addresses. So how much bits for network and how much for host? 3 bits. 3 bytes for network and a single for host. So 1 byte includes how much bits? In 1 byte, 8 bits are there. So if the network having 3 bytes, so 8 into 3 is equal to what? 8 multiplied by 3 is equal to what? This is what? 3 bytes. And 1 byte is equal to what? 8 bits. For class C IP addresses, if you are using class C IP addresses, so how much bits, how much bytes? How much bytes for network? 3 bytes for network. So 3 bytes mean 1 byte is equal to what? 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. So 3 bytes is equal to 24 bits. So you can see that the length of network is what? 24 bytes. 24 bits. Is it clear? If I'm using here class A IP addresses, so the length would be what? The length would be 8. That is 8 bits. For example, I'm going to skip it. Again, right click and here I'm going to what? New scope. ABC scope. Next, and here I'm going to mention 10.0.0.1 and 10.0.0.100. So now you can see the length is what? The length is 8. Because in class A IP addresses, 1 is for network and 3 is for host. So here the length, that is what that specify. That specify what? The network bits. Is it clear? Hope that's it. Kardan scope, then click next. Here I'm going to mention 192.168.2 dot what? Dot 2 dot, for example, I'm going to start from 5. And again, 192.168.2 dot what? Dot 2 dot 200. I have just specified how much IP addresses? 195 IP addresses for the connected clients. Each and every client is going to request from the client side to the server for an IP addresses. So this server will assign an IP address from 1 up to what? From 5 up to 200. I have just specified from what? The start IP is what? That is 5. And from 5 up to what? 200 means 195 addresses we are having. We are having 195 IP addresses in that given range. And here the length of and the subnet mask of the class C. So class C, I have told you that subnet mask represents the network portion in an IP addresses. So the network portions are 3 bytes. So that's why 255.255.255.0 that represent the network portion. If here I'm using class A IP addresses, so the subnet mask would be what? 255.0.0.0. पल्ले नहीं पड़ रहा न पूछिए. Just click on the next button. Here it asks about what? It asks about aid exclusion. Aid exclusion, I have told you, if I want to reserve some IP addresses for some special purposes, so we have to do what? We have to specify that IP addresses here. So I'm going to what? I'm going to specify, I'm just going to exclude that IP address from 192.168.2 dot what? 2.10 and then 192.168.2 dot, for example, 20. So I have just excluded 10 IP addresses from that given range. Now these IP addresses are not going to be assigned to what? To the clients, because these IP addresses I have reserved for some special purposes, just like for HR or manager, a VCR, registrar, etc. So they are not going to be assigned to the clients. So just what? 192.168.2.10 and 192.168.2.20. Now click on the 8 button. So these IP addresses are going to be what? Are excluded from the given range. Now click on the next button. Now here you can see that least duration. By default, if a client requests for the IP addresses from the client side to the server, so by default, the IP addresses that is going to be assigned to the client, so by default it can keep for how much days? 8 days. And after the 8 days, on the 9th day, he will again request from the client side to the server for a new IP addresses. So that is what? That is least duration. So by default 8 days, and you can extend up to what? Up to 999 days. Again, I'm going to click on the next button. Yes, I want to configure these options now. Then click next. If you are using a router is used for what? For connectivity to local area network. For example, if you want to connect this campus with that mini campus, so there should be a router in between the two networks, between the two local area networks. So if you want to connect this main campus with that campus, sub branch of the same organization, so then there should be what? There should be a router. So here you have to specify the IP addresses of the router. So we are not using the router, so I'm just going to skip it what? Skip it blank. Then click next. Parent domain. What is the domain name? Domain name is what? Toggle.com. Toggle.com is the domain name. What is the computer name? So I'm just going to specify what is the server name. Right click on the computer, go to properties, and from there check it out what is the computer name. The computer name is what? That is server. And you can find out from the, if you want to find out from the command prompt, so just type out host name. So the computer name, that is what? That is server. So now the domain name, that is what? That is kabul.com. Kabul.com. And here we have to just what? We have to specify the computer name. So what is the computer name? The computer name is server. We have already discussed in the last lecture that what is DNS server. What is the function of DNS server? DNS server is used for what? MashaAllah. Previous lecture DNS server, forward lookup zone, reverse lookup zone. So like yo the paki puri tadi kana check kare jale darki. This enough hoegi. DNS server is used for what? Converting IP address into host name and host name into IP address. Here we are. भूल गए माशाल्लाह तरक्की बढ़ गई इस तरह से. Now, if I just wanted to find out the IP address of this computer, so I'm just showing you. I'm not going to ask about the DNS server. Can you other way? So we bar me job. The mama is a parwana right. So just I wanted to show you that how to configure it. So DNS server singa kargi. I have just mentioned the name of this computer, and I want to what? I want to find out. I want to convert this computer name into host name into IP address. So just click on what? If I'm going to click on the resolve button, so this DNS server, the function of DNS server is going to be shown here. It will what? It will automatically convert this host name into IP address. Now go right, that automatically the computer IP address automatically routes it. Just go right, click on the button, go right 192.168.2.1. If I'm going to find out the name of this computer is what? The name of this computer is what? That is server. And if I want to find out the IP address of this computer, so just double click on the local area connection, and from there check it out. The IP address of this computer is what? 192.168.2.1. So if you are using it, so here you can see that when I'm going to type the name of this computer and click on the resolve button, so automatically the IP address is going to be taken automatically. It's going to convert automatically host name into what? Into IP address, host name into IP address, and IP address into host name. The function of forward and reverse lookup zone in the DNS server. वो हम से याद चुका ना, जो DNS server से बारे में ऐसे चल गई वही चिकले ददी से ना सही द DNS server अक्सर नाश्ता के खुराई सीधे सी चीज़ याद है मुझे DNS server DCP server द नोट्स नहीं थी द वो के हल्का वही उस गई नहीं भी चीज़ें तो जोड़ा गई ऐसे वो तो नहीं जोड़ी. Okay, now just add it and then next. Server name and IP address for Win server. Previously, we were using what? We were using Win server. And nowadays, we are using what? We are using DNS server. So that's why I'm now using Win server. So just skip it and then click next. Yes, I want to activate this scope now that we have created and we have mentioned the IP addresses from 5 up to 200. If you want to activate it, yeah, I want to activate it. So next and then finish. Now you can see that the scope has been created with the name of what? With the name of Cardan scope, and you can see that address pool. So address pool, you can see that 192.168.2.10, and from 10 up to what? From 10 up to 200. You can see this is the address pool. And this is what? This is add exclusion. You can see the IP address that has been excluded. So 192.168.2.10 and 192.168.2.20. These 10 IP addresses has been excluded from the given range. Is it clear? And we are having these IP addresses. So how to go? Now we want to assign the IP address to the clients. So there, if you are using address leases, so there is no IP addresses because we didn't assign any IP address to the clients. If you are using obtain IP address automatically to the clients, and then it's going to what? It's going to request to the server, and server is going to assign any IP address from the given range. So then you can see that if any IP addresses is going to be leases from the server to the clients, so that IP addresses will be added here. That this IP address has been assigned to client 1 or client 2 or client 3 or client 4. So that will be what? That will be in this list. So now there is no IP address assigned to the client. So there is no. And there is just a reservation. Reservation is going to be used what? If we are using, we have assigned, we exclude some IP addresses to the for some special purposes, and if you want to assign these special IP addresses to a specific person, so what to do? These IP addresses are going to be assigned through what? Through MAC address, and MAC address is going to be found out what? Through ipconfig/all on going to that specific computer, then log in with the administrator username and password, then go to start run cmd, open command prompt, and then you have to type ipconfig/all, and it will give you what? It will give you the MAC address of that computer. Now this is server computer, and I want to find out the MAC address of this computer. So how to do? ipconfig/what/all. So it will give you MAC or physical address. Now you can see that this is what? Physical address of this computer. That is what? Normally that is in hexadecimal. 0 to 1 binding numbers, 0 to 7 octal. Octet octal numbers, and then 0 to 9 decimal numbers, and then 0 to 15 hexadecimal. So that's what this is the physical or MAC address of LAN card of that specific computer. So that's what that is unique throughout the world. The दुनिया की unique भी हर जो LAN card the para different भी. It's not going to be repeated. So that is what that is in hexadecimal. So you have to just note it out this MAC address, and then you have to what? You have to reserve the specific IP address to that specific computer. Now first of all we have configured it. I'm just going to what? I'm just going to the client computer, and now just double click on the local area connection. From there select what? Journal, go to properties, and from there TCP/IP. Now check it out, the IP address of this computer is what? 192.168.2.2, and that has been assigned manually by the administrator. Now we have already installed and configured the DHCP server on the server computer, and we want to what? We want to get the IP address from that DHCP server. So how to do? We have to select the first option, that is what? Obtain IP address automatically, and from there obtain DNS server IP address automatically. Now click on the OK button. When you are going to click on the OK button, so this IP address is going to be released and is going to search. IP the para searching shuru ki. Click on the OK button and then again close. Now you will see that it is going to work. The IP the para searching ki. And after a short time, it will give you a message: local area connection is now connected. And now, if you are just going to double click over it, and you can see that assigned by what? Assigned by DHCP. Now this IP address 192.168.133, it has been assigned by what? By the DHCP server. If I'm going to what? Go to general, and from there I'm assigning what? Select TCP/IP, go to properties, and from there I'm selecting what? I'm assigning an IP address that is what? 192.168.2.2, and then now click on the, here I'm going to mention the IP address of the DNS server 192.168.2.1, and click on the OK button. Now this IP address has been manually configured, assigned by the administrator. So now, for example, if you are going to open the local area connection and you are going to double click over it, and from here, from support, you are going to check it out. That is what? That is manually configured. You can see here, what is this? That is manually configured, means I have assigned the IP addresses. But if I want to assign it from the DHCP server, so go to general, properties, from there select TCP/IP, then properties, and from there what? Obtain IP address automatically, and obtain DNS server address automatically. Now click on the OK button. So after a short time, it will what? It will request for the server for the IP addresses, and then you will get a message: local area connection is now connected. Means now the IP address is assigned by what? Assigned by the DHCP. Double click over it, go to support, and from there you can see that assigned by what? Assigned by DHCP. Is it clear? Again go to what? Again go to the next client and check it out, the IP address of this computer as well. From here you can see that is what? That is manually configured. Manually means the administrator assigned this IP. I want to assign it by the DHCP server, so go to properties. From there, just check it out, select TCP/IP, go to properties, and from there, the IP address is assigned manually. I want obtain IP address automatically, obtain DNS server address automatically. Click on the OK button, then close, and again close. So it will request to the server. Now it's get IP address from the DHCP server. Double click over it, and from here just check it out. Assigned by what? Assigned by DHCP. Is it clear? Pushu kana. Now, for example, by default, a client can keep this IP address for how much days? For 8 days. So after the 8th day, this IP address is going to be expired, and he is again going to request to the server, and the server will assign a new IP address. But meanwhile, if a client on the 4th or 5th day of the assignment of the IP address, after the assignment of the IP address, he wants to renew his IP address. He is going to request that I want to renew my IP address. I don't want to use this IP address. So how to do? For example, first of all, you will be what? On the client side, you will be what? You will be logging with administrator username and password, and you want to renew your IP address. So what to do? Go to command prompt, and from there what to type? IP config slash what? Slash release. Means I want to what? I want to release the existing IP. Matlab the existing IP, the release ko I just wanted to release the existing IP. I don't want to use it. So click on the OK button. So the existing IP is going to be released. And here you can see there would be an exclamation mark, yellow exclamation mark, Beghash. Now you can see that there is no IP address. And here you can see that if you are going to type what? If you are going to type here ipconfig, I just want to do find out the IP address of this computer. So 0.0.0.0 means there is no IP address assigned to this computer. It means the existing IP has been released. Now, if you want to renew our IP addresses from the client side, so what to type? ipconfig slash what? Slash renew. Release is used to what? To release the existing IP. Means here you can see that on the local area connection there is an exclamation mark. Double click over it, and if you want to find out support, so there is no limited or no connectivity. Means there is no IP address because we have released the existing IP. Now if you want to renew it, so ipconfig slash renew. We want to request for the new IP address to the DHCP server, and then click on the OK button. So you will get it will request, and now the local area connection is now connected. If you want to find out the IP address, ipconfig slash all, so it will show you the IP address of 192.168.2.6 because I have given the range from 5 up to what? From 5 up to 200. So you can see the client ID is what? That is what? That is 6. Look, it is a IP address thing. 192.168.2.6. Or from here, if you want to find out, so just double click on the local area connection, and that is what assigned by DCP. And what is the IP address? 192.168.2.6. So I have given the range from 5 up to 200. So 6 has been assigned to this computer. Now, for example, just go to what? Go to the server, go to Start Program, Admin Tools, and from there select DCP server, and just check it out the address pool. And from there, what? Address leases. So 192.168.2.6 has been assigned to client2.kabul.com. Now client 2 था IP 6 मिला उसको. Is it clear? कभी हम ना पूछ गई वाला मन. Yeah, you can. The DHCP server will assign any IP address. Means going to be the same IP address is going to be assigned again to you. मतलब दासी की रेशियो चुमदा IP था तो दोबारा हम दरकी. Means automatically and dynamically. Down की ratio or any IP की ratio from 5 up to 200 any IP. Means for example you are using class, that is what IP, that is what that is now the client 2 has been assigned the IP address, that is 192.168.2.6. So means if the IP has been expired after the 8 days, it is again requesting for the new IP address. So maybe the same IP address is going to assign things again. Least duration. For example, if there are 100 or 200 computers and someone is not using a specific computer, so why to assign an IP address? If this computer is dead and we have already assigned an IP address that is 192.168.1.10, so this IP address is assigned to this permanently, for example, for 8 days. So after the 8 days, if this is not using it, so that IP address is going to be assigned to another computer. Charita usage की राशि कैसे अगर dead root पे अगर हम permanent IP वर्क करेगा तो IP फजूल था. अगर हम use करा वस्तु दा बारा मुंगी 8 days ना expired चुनो बे बदले customer लगी देश. And again, for example, if I'm going to the second computer, what is the IP address of this computer? That is what, if I'm going to assign it, the same method is going to be used. First of all, ipconfig slash what? Slash release. The existing IP is going to be released. Now the IP address has been released, and here you can see that 0.0.0.0. Now if again we are going to request ipconfig slash what? Slash renew. Now the new IP address has been assigned to this computer, and that is what 192.168.2.5. So 5 assigned to this computer and 6 IP address assigned to that computer. Now file is not in the range. Because 5 assigned to it. The previous computer assigned 6 and this is assigned start IP address, that is 5. The sequence it's not going to be in the sequence. Now for example again go to the server operating system, and from there go to what? Just refresh it. Now you can see that 5 has been assigned to client 1 and 6 has been assigned to client 2. Now if you want to assign an IP address to a specific computer that has been excluded from what? That has been excluded from that given range. So how to assign it? For example, I want to assign to this computer an IP addresses that from that given range permanently. So for example, first of all, I have to go to that computer, going to log in with the administrator username and password, and then go to start command prompt, and from there IP config slash what slash all. First of all, find out the physical address of this computer. That is what 00, that is OC 29EE B2 and 70 cent. I'm just going to note it out. Go to 00 there. Then for example 0C, then 29, then for example EE, and then B2 and then 77. B2 and then 77. Now we want to assign an IP address from that given range. So how to do it? The first of all, go to what? Go to that specific computer. Here I want to select reservation. I want to reserve a specific IP address that is for the Vice Chancellor. So right click over it, and that is what? New reservation. Click on the button, and from the reservation name, I'm just using it what? For Vice Chancellor. Vice Chancellor. So which one IP address? 192.168.2. What? So I want to reserve 2.10 or 11 or 12 or up to 20. So I'm just assigning IP address, that is what? 11. But what is the MAC address? Now this address is going to be mentioned here. That is what, for example, I'm going to mention is 00, then hyphen 0C, then 29, then dash 29, then for example EE, and then for example 29 EE B2 and 77 hyphen B2 and then 77. Now the IP address 192.168.2.11 has been reserved for this computer, and that is the permanent IP address of this computer. It's not going to be expired after 8 days because we have assigned it manually. Is it clear? So now what to do? Just click on the 8 button and close. Now in the reservation 192.168.2.11 has been reserved for what? For Vice Chancellor. So that is the reservation. Is it clear? I'm just going to stop it because